So we gotta
It works.
I can.
Hey, you are the host today. I'm the host today. Sorry about that. Long time no see, man. You good though? That's good.
Yeah, good.
Awesome, man. Really, I'm not.
Do you mind to speak to this?
Here? Okay.
I just speak like a little.
Okay.
Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, 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 hello. 1, 2, 1, 2. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello.
My name is FM. I am an associate here at Orbit Startups, a program backed by the VC fund called SOSV. More details on that in a bit. First of all, I want to thank everyone here for coming out. I understand that we have a lovely weather, and so I appreciate you guys weathering it through and coming out here for some snacks, a good conversation on Web3, one of the hottest topics around these days. And as you can see behind me, we have a lovely agenda here. We'll be doing some welcome remarks. I did mention a little bit about Orbit Startups and SOSV earlier. I won't say too much about it. My boss here who cuts my paycheck will do. And we'll have a Web3 portfolio showcase where we talk about some of the Web3 companies in our portfolio, get you guys a sense to what we've been invested in and also what's available out there in the world. And then we'll have the lovely panel discussion, which you guys are here for, to learn a bit more about what's happening in Web3, specifically in China. And then we'll end the night with some good food, some drinks, and hopefully some good vibes. But before any of this transpires, we do want to thank our hosts here at WeWork. And obviously, there's an opportunity for us to learn more about what WeWork's up to these days. So I'd like to invite our friend Emmanuel here. Tell us a bit more.
Hey everyone, this is Manuel with WeWork. We're more than happy to welcome each of you guys to Yanping. Yeah. So, okay, so this is actually our first location in Asia. Yeah, so it has some history. It was back in 2016. I guess most of you have heard about Yanping. So, yeah, so thing out of the tank. So that tank, it's actually that one that you see right out there. We used to have a shark, but yeah, it's too expensive to keep a shark. So yeah, we're trying to get costs down. Yeah. So most of the time when you hear about WeWork, you think about a very bright space, a very creative space, just like here, like we see in the pictures, Washington, New York, Paris. Sorry, this is in Beijing. Yeah. And Weihailu, our flagship store in China. So, but when you hear about workplace, the first thing that comes to your mind won't be sustainability, eco-friendliness, and low emissions. So today I'm going to tell you a little bit how we help companies achieve their ESG goals. So by repurposing and by reusing. So repurposing, we actually bring back historical landmarks to life by creating timeless spaces. Just like this picture here, this is our flagship in China. It's Weihailu, and this used to be an opium factory. So it's been here for over 100 years. So we actually have the old picture. So this used to be the family that lived after the opium factory. So it was here before World War II. Yes, this is just some pictures of the space. So we actually do this all around the world, included this. This used to be the Cadillac's showroom in Detroit. This used to be the showroom. This is in London. It's also an old space. So we actually repurpose a lot of spaces that used to have a lot of life. So this is reusing. So by reusing, we mean that actually a lot of companies can just move to a space that was being used by another company. And when they move to another space, they'll just reuse it. Okay. So here also, we offer our members just exact office sizes, so no need to go bigger. Also sharing a few resources. Actually, the coffee machines that you see at WeWork, you can actually use a very expensive coffee machine because the cost is divided by all the tenants that are in the same floor. So you can get better coffee at a lower cost. And also organic design. Some questions that we get asked a lot is like why we were using a lot of glass in all our partitions. That's just to get all the light to the very inner office that we have in the central space. And also energy efficient travel. So we offer our members a lot of satellite spaces all around Shanghai, so they don't need to have all their employees move to a central space, so they'll save a lot of time, a lot of money, and produce lower emissions. And just a little bit about WeWork China. So currently, we have over 12 cities. We have 9 locations and over 80,000 members. Here are some of our very large companies and also startups. So why do large enterprises they move to WeWork? Because they have the option to work with very small and physically close startups. And for startups, they have the opportunity to work with very large companies, just like this that we see in the PPT. Okay, so here are just some of our products. And yes, just let me show some of our pictures of Shanghai just to close the presentation. This Shanghai Plaza. And here it's some of our other buildings in the center. West Nanjing and our flagship. Okay, this IFC. So yes, so this is just a little bit about us. And then if anyone has any questions, feel free to just add our WeChat and then just drop and say hi. So yeah, again, welcome each of you guys to our first location in Asia. And thank you, Orbit and Tony, for all the work to put this space together, because it's very hard to do an offline event these days. So yeah, thank you guys.
Alrighty, folks, you heard it here first. Key takeaway is, if you don't have an office at WeWork, pack your boxes, come by, scan the QR codes there. But anyway, so now I would like to take the opportunity to introduce William Balbin, General Partner at SOSV and Managing Director at Orbit Startups, AKA my boss.
Thanks a lot. All right, thank you so much. Is it possible to move that around a little bit? Thanks. No, okay. So we're SOSV. The funny thing is that we started the first accelerator, the first startup program in China, actually the first in Asia in 2010. And this is the first WeWork spot, right? I think to open in Asia. And when they opened up, they didn't have any customers. So they borrowed our startups to sit in the offices and use the offices, so that when they did the photo shoot, they would have some actual people here. And then and our companies have got to use the space for I think 3 months free, so it was a good deal. Great. So we're SOSV. We're early stage venture capital fund, and we invest across 3 verticals: hardware with our Hacks platform, IndieBio is our biotech platform, and then we rebranded China Accelerator, 中国加速, and Mox, our consumer platform, into Orbit Startups earlier this year. So we are the most active early stage VC in the world. As of Q3, according to PitchBook, we're the #2 most active VC in the world. And across what we focus on here in Orbit is emerging and frontier markets. So we're quite active across Southeast Asia, South Asia. We're the most active VC in Pakistan. And we just did our first 14 investments in Sub-Saharan Africa and Northern Africa. We're also quite active in sectors that we believe are vitally important to the future of the planet. So we take what we've learned after investing for 20 years in China Internet, which is how do you use technology to bring people out of poverty and transform their lives and give them economic independence. So we're taking what we learned here in China and bringing it to the emerging and frontier markets around the world to give those next 4 or 5 billion consumers economic independence. At the same time, we're really focused on human health, making sure that as they get more money, they're healthy. As you know, in India, 40% of the population has a lifestyle disease like diabetes and hypertension and high blood pressure. And also, we want to make sure that as we bring these next 4 or 5 billion consumers, out of poverty, that we don't kill the planet. Because, as we've seen in China, it's been a real miracle to really help people come out of poverty, but it has come at great expense to the planet. So we're Orbit, helping the best technology startups from around the world expand in their local market and scale cross-border. And we invest in companies that have done well. So probably the most famous in China is Yu Xiaopao, which is they have a makeup brand called BNC, Bonnie and Clyde, and they're hopefully getting ready to go IPO soon. We also invested in the first crypto derivatives exchange in 2015, BitMEX, and they were the #1 crypto exchange in the world until the US government went after them. Now they're number 17. But the good thing is we got a very early move towards regulatory friendly practices, and we have amazing KYC. So we hope to benefit from FTX's demise. We'll see what happens. So we are global. We're all around the world. And we help our companies through our program. We have the traditional benefits of a traditional accelerator program. We help with mentors, we help with growth, and after growth comes fundraising. Mentors are really key. So we have a bunch of mentors here this evening and our wonderful speakers, so really appreciate it. Two things that we help with. One, that's not part of a normal program. One is enterprise sales. So we help our companies sell to large corporates around the world. The second is we're the only VC in the world that gives free advertising, free user acquisition, free marketing to the companies that we invest in. So 62% of VC money is spent on customer acquisition, user acquisition, basically advertising. And we remove the need to raise that money and spend it on ads because we give free ads. And we do that through our partnerships with our corporate partners. So we helped over the last 4 years, our companies hit 143 million monthly active users with a customer acquisition cost, a CAC of 0. We've invested $51 million in Orbit startups since we started in 2010. And those companies have gone on to raise over 700 million in follow-on funding. We couldn't do it without our corporate partners. So we work lightly with about 230 multinationals, heavily with about 42 multinationals, and actually 27 corporates invested in our fund. So we're really about open innovation, really breaking down barriers between large enterprise and our startups, our innovative startups. So how does this work? Well, with our corporate partners, we're bringing the best of the best innovation from around the world to corporates to help them maintain their competitive advantage in the face of big internet. So Alibaba, Tencent, Google, Facebook, Apple, Amazon, they're putting a huge amount of pressure on multinationals, and we're bringing innovation from startups to help those multinationals fight back. So really great to, I'm gonna steal Scarlett's thunder, but Scarlett is with us tonight in the metaverse. Actually, she's on Zoom, but she's the CEO of Zebra, and Zebra is an amazing company. They are helping creators and celebrities and musicians, sort of as Warren Buffett says, make money while they sleep. So by creating a digital twin, by creating an avatar of that celebrity can now work in the metaverse, giving concerts inside of games or creating TV shows or selling items on e-commerce while the actual celebrity is asleep. Right. So the idea is how does a celebrity represent themselves, himself or herself or itself in a metaverse? Well, Zebra is the underlying technology and platform that makes that possible. And we're great to have Scarlett, the CEO, here with us tonight. The second is Morpheus League. So in the world, we have gig workers, right? You have Ulama drivers and Didi ride drivers, and you have people doing gig work. Well, we believe that in the metaverse within Web3, people should get paid for their work, right? And we believe that there are going to be the need for gig workers, digital gig workers in the metaverse. So Morpheus has over 2,000 gig workers. They know how to use a MetaMask wallet, and you can hire them to do online and offline tasks. Most of them happen to be in Philippines, Argentina, and Indonesia. So they're very inexpensive. So we're here tonight in a in-person party. But if you ever want to have a party in Sandbox and hire 50 people to dance around, Morpheus League is there for you. The cool thing is they've got 5 of the top 10 ranked players in the world in Axie Infinity among their gig workers. And last is Tappy Tune. So anime or webtoons, like Korean comic books, are extremely popular all around the world. So one of the interesting things that people don't know is Korean dramas, like TV shows, right? They mostly come from Korean webtoons. So TappyToon is the #2 webtoon platform in the world. #1 outside of Korea. They're actually partnered with the #1 in Korea, Naver, and they're bringing webtoons around to audiences who read English and Spanish and German and French. Now, the cool thing is they actually now own the IP, so they can project these webtoon characters as IP across the metaverse, and we're very excited for TappyToon. So with that, I'm going to kick it back to Haruri.
Thank you, William. So we would like to invite our panelists now to have a quick seat here. While our panelists are joining us, I would like to remind everyone over there in the back, I understand that it is a social function. If you want to talk, maybe go over there in the corner where folks can be in a position to actually hear what people are saying today. We are a bit short on mics, and after the panel, I would like to invite folks that have questions to come up and ask the questions that they have based on the conversation we're going to have this evening. And William, if you'd be gracious enough to repeat those questions for the folks online, that'd be great. That way there's a metaverse and realverse interaction. That being said, I'll give you an opportunity to introduce our panelists.
Great. So Scarlett, could you, thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Hi, can you
Could
see
you
me?
briefly introduce yourself? I mean, I already tried to do my best to pitch your company, but please
I think
introduce
you
yourself.
have done that. It's a great job. Yeah, can you see me? Am I on the screen?
Yeah, basically. Just
Oh, okay.
just
But you
just
can
go
hear
ahead.
me, right?
Yeah. You'll be fine. You're muted. You somehow managed to mute yourself. So please unmute.
Hello,
All right.
can you hear me? It's better now, right? I'm sorry that I couldn't join you guys in Shanghai. I would love to come, but Beijing has these very strict policies for for entering Beijing and exiting Beijing now, and we also have a bit of outbreak. So I don't want to bring the disease to you. Anyway, William has gave a very good introduction about my company, and very quickly I will introduce myself here. I started my career as a music executive in the early 2000s, and I was working for the Rupert Murdochs for their music brand in Asia. It's called Channel V. And then I started 2 companies after that. The first one was specialized in music rights management and distribution. It was actually one of the earliest digital music rights management company in China in 2004. And then in 2016, we sold the company to Tencent Music Entertainment. And then for the next 10 years, I've been working on music festivals and music concerts. And in 2019, I sold the company to CMC. And I spent some time then on studying the metaverse and Web3 in the US. And then I started this new company in 2021. And our first investor was William. We spoke for 5 minutes and he said, I want to support you for this new project. And yeah, so here I am with Zebra Labs. And we have already launched our first virtual idol in June. And we have now more than 100K.
So I think Scarlett, we have some technical difficulties, so we're going to come back to you. Okay. In the meantime.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Hi guys, this is Catherine. I'm from Waymaker. Actually, I'm the general manager for Waymaker in China, in Shanghai. And basically, Waymaker is the agency, one of the agency from Group M, which is belonging to the holding company of WPP. So it's the #1 advertisement agency, one of the #1 advertisement group in the whole world. Well, actually, we are holding more of the 6 billion of media investment every year for most of the representative brands from global, like LVMH, Richmond, and also Coca-Cola and those kind of giants. And also we are helping with a lot of the local brands as well for their branding, both domestically and also overseas. So glad to join here today to have the discussion with both William and also Peaches and Scarlett to have to bring in more of the ideas from the brand side, and maybe we could discuss more of the connections between both of the Web3 technologies and also the needs from brand side those days. So thank you.
Great. So such an honor and pleasure to be here with you, and happy also to have this long collaboration with SOSV since many years. Always a pleasure to be with you guys. So my name is Patrice Nordi. I'm a managing partner in Faber Novel, which is a global innovation company. We just joined EY. We've been acquired like 4 months ago, so a global advisory network that you might know. My digital journey started some time ago. It was 20 years ago in 1998. I created my first internet company, and I had the chance actually to have my first metaverse experience in the year 2000. So with that, metaverse is not a new topic actually. And 15 years ago, I've been sent here in China to develop an innovation center for a bank called BNP Paribas. And after that, so I sold, I left that company. I created another company that I sold to Faber Novel. Faber Novel, yeah. It was Velvet, yeah. So I was mainly doing communication and marketing for luxury brands. And yeah, here I am with Faber Novel and now EY Faber Novel. So very obsessed by the future, by innovation, by metaverse since many years. So I'm very excited to share the panel with you guys.
Yeah, so sorry, Scarlett, I think the sound is not that great, but Scarlett's last role was the company she founded was the largest live music festival platform in China. They did 2 festivals, ZMF, which was pop, and Electronic Daisy Carnival, EDC, which was electronic, you know, up to 150,000 tickets per show, 2 3-day festivals, and sold it to Shanghai Media Group, CMC, which became the largest live platform in China. So thanks, Scarlett. We're going to try and do our best, but if you can
thanks for
speak
helping me out
loudly into the mic, we can try. So, I mean, I'm just going to kick off with Patrice. Like, could you talk a little bit, and this is a question for everybody, when you think about Web3, especially with Asia characteristics or China characteristics, what comes to mind? What do you think of?
Yeah, so that's a big question. That's a big topic. What is Web3? So the first thing is it's a new topic around, you know, discussion, and but it's an old subject. And reason why I wanted to bring this book, and I know that you welcome Neil Stevenson a couple of weeks ago. So everything started with that book that you may have heard about called Snow Crash, which is the first book to have coined the term metaverse and to have fully described what is metaverse. And we are still building a part of what is inside that book. So I really encourage you to get the book and read it. You will learn a lot. And when we talk about metaverse, actually we're talking about a bigger thing, which is Web3, which is a topic of our conference today. And to simplify, Web3, you have different components. One is metaverse, which is a 3D immersive world where you have avatars populating this universe, who are the users of this world. That's one element, and probably we're going to dig into that part later. There is another layer which is quite interesting, which is about blockchain, because blockchain is what makes everything possible into what we are looking at in terms of business models, in terms of cryptocurrency, in terms of other elements like ownership. And cryptocurrency was actually created back in 2007 by Satoshi Nakamoto. I don't know if you heard about this, who is not a real name person. We don't know actually who created blockchain. It's still an unknown person, but back in 2007, so it's not new actually. And then you have NFT, which is a layer over blockchain. Blockchain has been actually created mainly to create cryptocurrency, and Bitcoin was the first thing. But in 2015, we or the community realized that with blockchain, we could do much more than just cryptocurrency. We could have actually create ownership of whatever digital products or real products with a non-fungible token, while a blockchain, while a cryptocurrency is a fungible token. So you have these three elements: metaverse, blockchain, NFT. And compared to what we have in the West and in China, in each of these elements, you have differences. Within blockchain, in China, you can have consortium of company doing blockchain, but you cannot have open blockchain platform that you have in the West. That's one of the key elements that make a big difference because we need in China to have an operator that will manage blockchain platform operations, while in the West, you can have decentralized blockchain system where all the users are actually managing the system and shortcutting, banks, financial institutions, states. So that's a big topic. Another topic is about NFT. We have NFT in China, we have NFT in the West. The difference is in China, you cannot actually use NFT as a financial instrument. So I'm a banker, I spent 11 years in a bank. When you buy something, you buy for three reasons. Either you buy to own, you buy to invest, or you buy to speculate. So for NFT in China, you can buy to own, you can buy to invest, you cannot buy to speculate. So that's the limit. So that creates a limitation about NFT in China. And lastly, for the metaverse, we have all these 3D spaces in China, but one of the limitation or one of the orientation of metaverse is what is encouraged by the government and officials is not to use immersive worlds, but more to use 3D and augmented reality into the real world. And I think there is a policy that we saw into gaming that want to prevent people to be addicted to online immersive universes. So these are the key main drivers or change between China and the rest of the world.
Very thorough. Catherine, do you want to add on or dig into any particular, like when you talk with your brand, when you talk with your brand clients and they're interested or they're not interested, but many of them I think are interested these days. What does it mean to them, or how do you explain it to them?
Okay. Well, talking about this, I'm a new joiner for Web3. I joined thanks to SOSV. I have joined several of your events here, and the networks have made with a lot of the good people here. So good to learn. But actually, for this media and brand side, they are actually has a huge, I would say, huge interest in this industry, because nowadays you could see that a lot of the celebrities or stars, they crash down, so due to some scandals or something like that. So in the actually in the real world, there are a lot of things going on from the marketing side. So not a lot of things, assets, IPs could be leveraged, and even for those could be have a clear KPI with ROIs for nowadays. So I think that for even for anything, any IPs or just mentioned by Patriots, maybe like the Web3 elements, maybe metaverse for engagement, and also for NFTs for investment level on consumers engagement. Those are going to be something that is definitely has the huge interest from the brand side of the investment. But actually, there is a question I also want to ask you guys about how to really measure on this, the collaboration, and how to really measure NFT, how that works. It's like, because right now we are facing some challenges. It's like, okay, we would like to invest in this industry, but actually we don't know how much we should, to measure for our clients. And when we're doing this planning, and we will think, okay, maybe this, the big monkey, and that might be the very famous one that we could put into some art pieces. But well, actually that's only for demonstration or even for the brand side of the the exposure. But how to further engage with the consumers. That's a question. And the other one is nowadays, like a Coca-Cola and even PepsiCo, they have been, investing in a lot of the metaverse, or even for some IPs from this, from the different platforms. So those virtual IPs are going to also be some good thing that we could think about the potential collaboration with. And they are making their own. They are trying to making their own metaverse, like a Coca-Cola metaverse, or even for universe for themselves, for the brand side. So that's engage a lot of investment as well. So I think this has the potential of collaboration, but it leads to more of the questions or even the thinkings between all of the players here, how we better participate and how we position ourselves into the different kind of the collaboration.
Cool. Scarlett, we're going to try
Can
and
you
give this
hear
a
me?
try. Sorry, the sound's not very high here, but I mean, you said that you were really interested and did a lot of research, and then you decided to dive in and do your third startup in this
Right.
Web3 space. Can you talk about what you discovered, or what was really exciting, what drove you, and what you've discovered so far?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's much better. Thank you.
Oh, great. Is it better now? Maybe I need to get close to my computer. Okay, good, great. Yeah, I spent about 2 years moving from a physical, I had a business, it's very physical, but there is one connection between this physical business and this new business I'm doing it. The key word is immersive. When I was doing my concerts and festivals, I always think about what kind of immersive experience I can create for my audience. And when I see Marshmallow doing his virtual concert in Fortnite, I discovered it's the same thing. It's just immersive in a very different environment, but the experience is copyable. So then I spent a lot of time diving into Web3, and I discovered this is a new world. And this is a time just like in the 1800s that we discover America. It's a new land and it's a new country that we're going to discover. This new land and new country is composed of four major technological change that will bring the whole revolution of our world and influence for the next 100 years. Can you hear me? I can hear a bit of delay.
Yes, very well.
Okay, anyway, so the four major technology is driving this whole Web3 revolution is one, AI, artificial intelligence. And you know what's happening with AI, right? AI now can create paintings. AI is everywhere in our life, in all the industries. And the second thing is blockchain, which brings a new revolution in the production relationships, right? And then you have the cloud, which enable you to be able to calculate on a very fast speed and also store all the information in the same system instead of downloading to your computer. And the fourth thing is big data. We have now big data can drive us much faster than before. These four pillars of the new technology, we are already experiencing it, is bringing us into a new world, which is an immersive world. It's a parallel to our physical world. And this new world, you will have the next Amazon, the next Apple, the next Facebook, the next Netflix, the next Alibaba, the next Jingdong, Douyin, or Kuaishou. That's why I was inspired, because this is the opportunity we are in now.
Awesome. So, Patrice?
I wanted to rebound on what you just said, Scarlett. I think it's so true. We are talking about a new iteration of the internet. And when you think about when internet arrived, the biggest market cap were banks and real estate companies. 10 or 15 years later, the biggest market cap are, internet and tech companies. And then, so you always have a before and after, and you have disruptions. Some industry are going to be disrupted first. And you probably remember at the beginning of the internet, the first industry to be disrupted was the music industry with Napster.
Yes, that's why I react very quickly.
Gigantic industry to collapse totally. Napster came around, and so I think we are facing, to see at the big picture. It's not just about metaverse, NFT, or blockchain. We are talking about like a big set of technology that bring or come together in a resonance to bring us from one stage to another stage, water come to another state, even you just adding 1 degree. So I think this is what we are facing, and this is why we have to care about it. And the question we always have from brand or from companies is, should we care about it? Should we do something? I think the right answer is not what if you should do something, is what are you going to do? Because are you going to be part of it or not?
Yes, I think the internet.
So, Catherine, can you talk?
Yeah, can I add a little bit? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, I think the internet and the mobile internet revolutionized the distribution system we had in the physical world, like e-commerce, right? Before we go to Walmart to buy stuff, and now we go to Amazon. They create a new distribution system which replacing the physical distribution system, right? And the difference in metaverse is it's not about replacing anyone. It's about replacing the current world. And everything will happen in a parallel world, which is a very, very exciting time. So Patrice, you're right. It's not about whether you should get into metaverse or not. It's what are you going to do in it?
So Catherine, can you start focusing a little bit on China? What are the opportunities here, or what do you think is possible in China?
Well, I think there are a lot of things going on, and a lot of things that from Web3 could engage with. It's not disruptive for this internet, but also I think it's from an O2O point of view, like the engagement with consumers, the way, the methodologies of the communications. So before, a lot of people will just right now we are maybe we are on a 2D world. It's like we're directly talking to each other via WeChat, via Douyin, those kind of stuff. But this is only one way, or even on the same page. But actually, probably after Web3, we might have a more of thinking of the 3D world that we could think about, right? We will have a virtual ourselves, maybe a standards of IPs, and we can change any of the clothing or even the outlook from this gamification. But that could be thinkable if you're just going outside and the gamification. I saw some of the other advertisement overseas. They already using this kind of the wearables for this with this gaming, and whenever you go, you could just play it on the ground, on the outside, on the road. So that might be giving you more of the thinking to what will our world will be in the next generation. This is totally from the technology side that we are changing the world actually. So it's not only, but also from today that we would like to discuss more about this, commercialization from these technologies, because a lot of the technologies has been emerging, like the NFTs, a lot of the companies, and also I saw some like the metaverse companies a lot of technology doing this, and a lot of IPs and contents has been created. So how that would be have more of the commercialization into the whole world, and how we make money in a shortcut. So I think we need a certain way to speak in with the same language, and also to figure out a measurement, a real measurement for these B2B business. So just like if we would like to buy a celebrity to collaborate with him, like for example Wang Yibo, maybe he will cost like 10 million RMB or even more than that for each campaign that we are investing. But actually, for any of the NFT or even for this metaverse of the, the IPs or even the musical players from Scarlett's place, then how much that could be cost? And what's the leverage measure on that? And that would be more efficient, maybe more cost effective, and even more feasible to collaborate with. And that's also the benefit could be, to be leveraged from the brand side of investment. So we just need some more of the bridge and more of the discussion to make everyone successful in this market. And I think that's a huge potential here. That's what I see.
Hey, Scarlett, can you give a couple examples of early success cases or interesting products that you're seeing in China in Web3 and Web3 related?
I'm not, I wouldn't say it's a very successful company yet, but I see successful companies and products coming up. I haven't seen a most outstanding ones. I think the overseas Decentraland or Sandbox or Roblox, they are very good examples. And I see the similar products happening in China, which is more related to my line of business. I'm sure there are other Web3 products that is more AI driven or more blockchain driven, which is not quite close to my line of business, which is entertainment. But I have seen great products. It's in the works, and you will see them probably next year sometime, or maybe 1 year later. And we're working with them also on these immersive Web3 based entertainment products.
Thanks.
But,
Patrice, could you give a couple examples of what's working, what's not working, or synergies between brands and these new technologies or new approaches?
Big question. Yeah, but I have, yeah. So we need to see different levels, and we'll maybe start by the sub level, maybe what we don't see, but what is eventually quite important too. So remember, so we have blockchain, NFT, metaverse. And for instance, so we are running a project with Microsoft. Microsoft, has a gaming business with Xbox all over the world, and the business of that kind of company is to have royalties, from the game company that will sell the products and give back the royalty back to Microsoft, Xbox in that case. So in a normal world without blockchain, it takes 45 days to collect the money back to the bank account. You need to, have the first transaction, authenticate, make sure that the contract is executed as it should be, and every contract might be different from partner to partner. 45 days to do the collection. So they created a platform that bring all partners into one ecosystem linked to blockchain with smart contract. So secure, auditable, fast, and transparent. Now it takes less than 3 minutes to collect the money from their partners. They process 25,000 transactions a day. So I always give this example because it's difficult to understand blockchain, specifically enterprise blockchain, but there is a big at stake around this. And you can eventually see that as what is ERP for one company. This is what blockchain do for a group of company or from one industry. In luxury, you have Aura or Ariane, who are like industry-based blockchain system. But for logistics, for shipping, you have the type of blockchain system. So that's maybe the deeper layer I really want to mention, because I think we don't see that, but it's a very disruption element. Then we have some other part of the how we can use the scenario that we can have. If we talk about blockchain, for instance, NFT, we have a lot of campaign-based type of scenario where, for instance, you have the digital twin scenario. So I want to get, the latest sneakers that you have, maybe William. It's a limited collection, and eventually the brand will send me an NFT, or I can buy an NFT that will be a proxy to get later this product. So it's a kind of access to the product, and before using the product, have a digital twin of the sneakers that I can use in the metaverse. And once I have finally the sneaker, I can actually have an NFC chip within the sneaker that can be used as a pass to access some events, collect data. So there are a lot of scenarios that we can unlock with NFT, which are totally new. So we are totally unboxing, all of these future marketing, events. So that's another aspect more into the upper level. And then B2B, we work also with healthcare companies. And I think there's so much to do there around 3D and simulation. Think about how a flight simulator is used to make sure that once you get the pilot on board, he knows the first day, he knows exactly how to fly to get on the flight. So the power of simulations really to bring training or just to simulate something that does not exist yet is very powerful in healthcare. When you can simulate operation, surgery, you can simulate patient medical scenario to really help people with a disease or to have diagnosis. So it's another part of user scenario that we see less, but also are very impactful and happening now.
Okay, just inspired by pictures, there is another, another new project that I was discussing with one of my alumni. Her name is Tina. Well, actually, she is working for this Xbox. She is the COO for the joint venture from Microsoft and also Shanghai Pro Tower. So those are going to be, this is a China like a kind of joint venture. But actually, she is engaging with a lot of the publish for these new games. So the other day we were discussing on this, and we were all from this Shanghai Jiao Tong University and the Catch Business School. So luckily that we were discussing a lot from this with our alumni as well. We engaged a lot of people and also the students over there to have more of the brainstorming on how to make her the game is successful in China, because there are a lot of the, the limitation for, and also they are competing with Tencent, with, they're the big giants and also NetEase. So actually, we were thinking about one thing that you have mentioned, that they had never collected any of the consumer data before from in the China market, but actually that could be a huge base of assets for them. So so maybe in the future, right now we are thinking about one of the projects to collecting more of the consumer-based data to engage for this first-party data. Using this Web3 technologies, maybe blockchain, or maybe like more of the engagement like currency or NFT or gamification IPs. So those are going to be something that is could be even helpful or valuable for any of the the game to have more of the potential to engage with other branding corporation in the future, because they also would like to have this co-branding, joint co-branding activity with Coca-Cola as well. So Coca-Cola was asking, okay, how many user base do you have? Like normally they will ask. So they said, oh, we might have a lot of the users, but just not in our hand. So they are right now doing that. And also they are developing, they are leveraging these studios to, to helping them to develop more of the advertisement portals from the games. So that makes more of the, the brand collaboration makes more feasible. And also they could all measure on how much they could charge from this kind of the collaboration. So that's also one of the inspiration from Pages.
That's great. I mean, one of our portfolio companies, they connect content owners or content creators with the consumers. The consumers really want the content. Normally, the consumers would have to pay for the content. But now what we're doing is we're basically having brands come in and pay for the content for the consumers. And in return, the consumers are giving all their personal information to the brand, or almost all of it. And they're opting in for one-to-one communication, zero-party data communication. So basically opted in. So far signed 3 of the top 10 consumer brand advertisers by spending in the world. And the one campaign, the first one is for 2 million users. The other one's for 5 million users. And their reach now of companies who have this content is 600 million across Asia ex-China. So hopefully we'll bring that here soon. So last but not least, Scarlett, looking forward to the future. So you launched a couple things. What do you think the future holds? And especially in China or even beyond Asia and the world? What have you learned and where are we going?
I think China has a great opportunity to be a major Web3 player because we have the largest educated workforce, right? And we also have very educated consumers now. It's a top tier consumers we have, and we have great infrastructure. So there are great opportunity for Web3 applications or a technology to be developed over here. And I see very exciting, I see all the BAT, they're all investing a huge amount of money in developing infrastructure for Web3 applications and technologies. So for the entertainment side, I see a great opportunity for the next 3 years because the Chinese entertainment industry is going through a bit of rough time, and we are providing great solutions for the market, and the market is craving for better entertainments than before, right? And we see a great opportunity here as well. And the most importantly, we have a huge gaming industry in China. In fact, it's actually the top gaming industry in the world. And I see the first immigrants for the people that migrating to metaverse or Web3 are the gamers. People play games or people work in the gaming industry. They are the most closest population to the Web3 generation. So we do see China has a good start, very good start.
Thanks, Scarlett. So I think that's great for the panel. I'd love to open it up for questions in the in-person live audience here in Shanghai. So please, any questions, just raise your hand and shout out. Anybody have any questions? All right. Wow, we answered them all. Okay, please go ahead. I'll repeat.
Thank you. This may also be related to my age group, but at this point, I'm not entirely sure that the metaverse is going to be as all-encompassing and engaging as you're making it out to be. I see the applications in the area, Catherine, you were talking about the marketing and so on. Patrice, you made an excellent point about training and skills acquisition that I hadn't thought about simulation. But certainly in my age group, if I want to experience something, I do not want to go into the metaverse, into a virtual world to experience it. For me, and that's part of the consumer acquisition, if someone wants me, for instance, Coca-Cola, I do not need to go into the metaverse to know I want to buy a Coke. Okay, so what I'm wrestling with is this just a demographic thing? It's an age thing. I absolutely understand the gamers of the world, the Gen Zers, millennials, yes, are into it. But surely there comes a time when even they want to go camping, they want to go out hiking, walking. They're not going to sit at their desk and go into the metaverse or onto their phone and do a virtual walk. So I'm very interested to hear your views.
Okay, I allow myself to take it because I feel also not always to be in the right demographic. You might not go to the metaverse. It will come to you. So I used to say, you don't undo the past and you cannot stop the future. There's nothing we can do. No technology, even if we don't understand it, it's coming to us and we're going to use it. So ultimately, this will happen. The rhythm, the pace of it is yet to be discovered. And again, there is a lot of scenario which are already here. Maybe not the one that we mentioned about, like, the one that are really fit to Gen Z and the early adopters, but other scenario that already in place, like for companies, for, B2B, for infrastructure. So this is already here. AI is already here everywhere. You also have, all your connected objects that are connected to the internet without you interacting with them. So they already discussed together, exchange data. So there's a lot of things that we don't see yet, but I think we had the same thing when internet arrived. Some people were skeptical about it, but it really brings a lot of disruptions. And I truly believe that what is happening now, in 10 years, we'll see backward, all the big disruption that arrived. And I believe that, like for the internet, creative industries and music might be one of the biggest industry or the first industry to be disrupted.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
All right, because mentioned about Coca-Cola, so I just speak something like this. Well, actually, Coca-Cola is just leveraging for some IPs or even from the NFTs to just engage with more of the younger generation. But actually, I think if you are asking me, are they going out? Are they meeting other people like glamping or something else? Definitely, they will have other like the outdoor activities to gathering with people. But I think this is Web3 of the technology is just right now is emerging, and to talking about the applications, that's also another the field that we want to discuss more, because right now I'm also asking about this question to all of the technology players here. It's like, okay, so we have so many of the engagement ways. Will that be applicable for any of the consumers, for all of the consumers? Or is that only targeting for some younger people? Or is that feasible to talking about to some elderness? That will be a potential as well. So the other day I was discussing with one of the new project with the healthcare for parenting, because this is a huge elder people right now in China, and we are facing into the new generation. So there might be a startup we might discuss later. So the entrepreneur, the startup person, that she would like to build up this communication digital platform with all of the people, but not only talking to the parenting themselves, but actually to talking about the sandwich level people, because they all know that not all of the people are online, not all of the people are acceptable for some new technologies. But if, as Patrice is mentioning, if that is coming, how we can deal with it. So maybe for some people that is really to taking care of their parents and taking care of their children, they will be the ones to talking to, and they will definitely help with leveraging using these technologies, and to maybe for some potentials for their parents to to better benefit from it. But this is I think this is discussable. This is something to further discussion with a lot of the applications as well.
Great. Scarlett, do you have anything to add, or just go to the next
I have
question?
a lot to add to the lady just asked the question. I will give you two examples. One example is, imagine I don't know who is your idol, a concert. Imagine now you want to, let's say now you want to watch a concert, right? Or you want to participate in a concert, go to a real concert in Mercedes-Benz Center. But now the concert is in the other side of the world, in Paris, and you cannot go. So what it brings to you, like Patrice said, it brings to you, you can get into the virtual concert and the artist will talk to you. And your friends on the other side of the world in Paris will be in the same room with you, enjoying the concert together. And after the concert, the artist's avatar will become your friend, and you will be running in the morning and she will be with you. And you will be doing something and she's accompanying with you. Maybe she's your music butler. This kind of experience is not happening now, but it will happening in the metaverse. Just like Patrice said, I experienced the paradigm shift.
I think we have time. Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
Thank you very much. So we are a decentralized platform that tokenize assets, and we also We operate in the US, obviously, but I'm very intrigued to know actually two questions. Number one is that NFT is basically a type of token that representing the ownership, right? In the US or outside of China, it's made very commonly use ECR 7221, which is on Ethereum. In China, most of the NFTs are minted to Lian, right? So my question is that with a very limited liquidity market, there's basically no secondary market for saying like reselling the NFTs, right? At least for today, because of the government regulation. So I'm very curious in terms of like, for the brands, how are you thinking about the real circulation and liquidity values of the NFTs? Because without that secondary transaction, I think any tokens doesn't really value anything, right? You can basically see from the OpenSea, some of the artifacts are just worth nothing after the issuing. Number two is that I have a different question towards Catherine. I'm very curious because I don't work for the brand side. When you mentioned that you collect consumer data through the NFT sales or issue, how does that work? Because my understanding to Web3 is that it's entirely anonymous, meaning that if I go on OpenSea or any platform to buy an NFT, it's basically, I don't leave any information there unless you use technologies like MPC or whatever. So I'm just very curious in that aspect, like how does that help the brands?
Thanks. Anybody want to go after the first one?
Yeah. Not easy. So the status of NFT, from my understanding, so it's different from cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency, it's legally forbidden to mint, trade, or use cryptocurrency. And remember that back in 2014-15, China was maybe 80% of the Bitcoin minting and trading. You might remember the company called BTCC, so it was not always the same. So for NFT, there is no legal regulation that says it's forbidden, but we have industry associations, financial associations that give opinion and recommendation about not to use it as a financial asset. And usually this is a proxy to what the regulator will say. So we are in this gray zone where NFT is not forbidden. There is no law that say NFT is forbidden or that you cannot resell, but their opinion from industry associations. And what they say is you cannot resell immediately. You can resell after a period of time. We don't know what is this period of time. Right? So again, we're in this gray zone, and for now there is not clear regulation. Some people play in the gray, some people don't want to play in the gray. And we see, for instance, a BSN, one of the main blockchain platform that start to open blockchain system to be part of their BSN platform, or to have a connection with other open blockchain outside of China. You have a BSN Spartan, for instance. So this might evolve. So this framework. Having said that, I truly believe that NFT will be a key disruptor into the way we do marketing for many reasons. One reason is when you do marketing, and we have a specialist here, you want to access a specific target audience or communities. Those communities are into platforms, Facebook, Xiaohongshu, etc. The beauty of NFTs is we can create communities we don't belong to platforms. So they own a certain type of assets. So the board Ape Yacht Club, for example, is 10,000 people, and they have let's say it's topic driven. You can have communities of NFT that not necessarily own very expensive NFTs, but they have a purpose. And they are not into any platform, they're in every platform. So that's a way to target groups or to create communities or to generate communities outside of the platforms. That's a big disruption, The second disruption is usually when you want to target consumers, you want to know their demographic and how much they own, right? Their wealth, especially you are in luxury. And you never have this information. unless you ask them how much, or unless they buy your product. So you know eventually. But with this type of NFT marketing, you can get a sense of the value, asset value of those people without having them revealing their information. That's a big disruption. And because it's NFT, they can stay anonymous, but still you can target them. So we break the problem of people having to give their information, so to be targeted with luxury brands, and luxury brands trying to ask this information to their consumers, because if they own a certain type of assets, we know that there's no problem and they can be part of the target audience. So at least for these two reasons, and we have limited time, I think it will bring a lot of disruption into marketing in China and outside of China.
Okay, for your second question. Okay, well, actually, I will correct one thing. I didn't really mention about the consumer really, the branding really, to leveraging for NFT, for exchange with consumers. Well, that's not the opinion from my side. But actually, nowadays, I would like to say from my personal, my own point of view, firstly is how you consider NFT's role in the branding in marketing. Like, if for luxury, it could be exchanged as a art piece, I don't know. Or if for FMCG brand like Coca-Cola, they could just leverage it and buy it and for any of the engagement with the consumers. For example, if they have icon or emoji or whatever IPs that they created for NFT, which means that their own users also has the access to it. And they could have more further of the engagement with this IP. So that makes you a lot of the, the imagining field on creativity. So that's what the marketing we're doing. But actually, we are not exchanging for any of the pieces for these NFTs in the marketing world. Nowadays, it's mainly for this IP sort of use. But of course, if it could be allowing for any of the exchange in the future as a currency, that will be bringing more of the, beneficial field for this as well. But now, yeah. That's why I'm asking one of the questions, how we measure it. Are we measure it as an art piece or are we measure it as an engagement tool?
Scarlett, do you have anything to add?
I think NFT is a very important part of the Web3 generation. And like Catherine said, it's a collectible, but it's also an engagement bridge between consumer and the brand. So it's more than just a collectible. It will become a major hub for the consumers and the brand and the valuables at the end. And then it's also leaving the platform. And it's a bridge that connecting them together. So NFT is a very important part, although now we are facing a major bear market for NFT. And also, although we have a unclear regulatory environment in China, but I believe the Chinese government see the opportunity for NFT and they will come out a clear strategy in the next few years. I don't think we will let this opportunity go as well. So I didn't finish the last example I want to give is we have experience for the lady that before this question is about the paradigm shift. It's a major paradigm shift, like what we experienced from in the music side. We experienced that we're shifting from CD to MP3 files, and today is actually a cloud service. And you don't notice it, but it happened. That today you can access to music anywhere you want. But before you need to go to a store, buy a CD. And this is the same thing happening with Web3. It will exactly happen the same way again.
Well, thanks. Thank you for your time and attention. Please give the panel a great round of applause. Thanks. Thanks, Scarlett.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Scarlett. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Cool. All right. Thank you so much, guys, for this lovely evening. Panelists, we appreciate all your knowledge and your wisdom. So now we're gonna get to the fun part of the night, the second fun part of the night, which is the food, the networking, and the drinks. Appreciate everyone out here for coming out in real life, and those virtually. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hope to see you at our next event. Cheers. Good. Alrighty.